I'm Dr. Downey. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry I'm out of breath. I'm just using a blood supply to do some housekeeping on the body. I hope you are too. The topic for today's video is mastering the basics, because as you'll soon see, we've gotten away from some of them. Let's go back to the office so I can explain. There, that's better. To begin, can we just at least agree on one simple truth? We all want to be healthier. I mean, who doesn't? What if I was to provide you with some of the information and tools to help you do just that? Did you realize, for instance, that we in the United States have 3 things going for us that no other country in the world has? Number 1, we have some of the most highly trained doctors. You see, other countries send their people to our country to receive the training that we get. Number 2, we have the most modern facilities. That fact puts us on the leading edge as newer technologies come along. Again, a very good thing. Number 3, we have the most money to spend on health care. It's called discretionary income. Now, I may not be the sharpest crayon in the drawer, but having the most highly trained doctors, the most modern facilities, and the most money to spend on health care, what do you think we should rank in the world in regards to our overall health? Obviously, number 1, right? How about 26th? Surprised? And on top of that, our utilization of medical services surpasses them all. Now, do you think that using even more of these same services like we've been doing is going to solve this problem? Hardly. You should know that there are other countries out there right now that spend a fraction of what we do on health care and yet enjoy a higher quality and quantity of life. What people from other countries have done outside their doctor's office has made a greater impact on their lives than what we've tried to do inside our doctor's offices. Let that sink in for a while. And yet, we could have the same thing they do, and knowing what I'm about to teach you, probably even better. I've just now revealed a truth, that the power you have over your health is greater than the power we as doctors have, if only we would use it. So that means learning some concepts you may not have thought a lot about to help you achieve more. It also means using some of the other essentials we'll talk about in this very video to your advantage. You want to know something else? We have set the bar for our own health potential way too low. We'll get to that. How did we get to this point? It's because we as physicians have been guilty of only focusing on one of the basics, the outside supply, which I talk about in greater detail in our Healing Series videos. To prove it, let's have some fun. The next time you see your physician, surprise them with a quiz by asking them what are the only 2 forces that heal in the body, and see what they say. No fair giving them hints. The answer, of course, is a blood supply and nerve supply. Yet most people don't know that. Chances are good that your physician doesn't know either. Not because they aren't smart, but because they've only been trained in one of the essentials. I never said the game was fair. Being a physician for the last 40 years, working hard, trying to learn from my mistakes, and eventually connecting the healthcare dots has given me a unique perspective on what's wrong with our current situation. I see the same mistakes being made over and over again. In other words, always treating health problems from the outside and expecting different results. That, by the way, is the very definition of insanity. So how do we deal with this mess? That's why I brought a prop along with me today, a golf club. You don't even need to be a golfer to understand what I'm about to say next. You see, in teaching people how to play the game of golf, you have to start with three essentials: grip, posture, and alignment. Every golf professional will tell you that. Why? It's because a deficiency in any of these areas can lead to problems later. Even Jack Nicklaus, one of golf's greats, has said to have a golf game, master the basics. Sound familiar? A lesson that we could all learn because it directly applies to our health. He has even gone one step further by saying that shortcuts to these three rarely work in the long run. Remember that, because we will mention it later. Just as there are three essentials in golf to master, there are three essentials in healthcare you want to master: a blood supply, a nerve supply, and some sort of supply from the outside. I can tell you through experience that the need to use all three of these is going to be new to many of you. Understand and master these, and just like with a golf swing, you set yourself up for the greatest chance of success. Now, here's the sad reality. In our current healthcare system, we've mostly neglected the other two essentials, forgetting that our bodies are run by electricity, or in other words, healing energy. For supposedly being smart, we physicians have yet to wrap our heads around the fact that we are run by energy, and that you can't precisely measure this critical life force, so its power has been overlooked. Instead of our inner power being the cornerstone of our potential, it has been retired to Star Wars movies. Hopefully, I can get you back on track in this talk. Now, back to golf. You could probably go to a PGA professional this very day, and they can help you with all of the three essentials you need in one setting. To master the three things you need in healthcare, you sometimes have to go outside the established norm to get them all. Kind of frustrating, isn't it? That's why the healthcare offices of any significant size in the future will have different people to cater to all these important methods. Why? One obvious reason would be because it would give them an advantage over their competitors, a one-stop shop for health, if you will. What's more, all these professionals will be on salary, so there's no financial incentive to use their services. You see, as it stands now, if you go to see a physician who's been trained in only one method, like I have, putting a lot of time and energy into it, by the way, and their livelihood depends on performing their services to survive, which method do you think they're going to be partial to? You already know the answer. So you can see we have a real problem. The healthcare practices of the future will also recognize the importance of all these avenues to give you, the patient, the greatest chance of success. In the meantime, don't believe for a second that all these methods are not important, just like the essentials in golf. We've been guilty of only focusing on the grip or outside supply, if you will, when we could have so much more. You know what? I liken this situation to a great big orchestra. All the instruments are necessary to make beautiful music together. But instead of embracing the contributions from all the participants, we often lower the bar by fighting amongst ourselves as to which one is more important. And it's been you, the patient, who has suffered. Have you begun to realize by now that our healthcare perceptions haven't even evolved to the level of a golf swing? Yikes. Strange things can be true. Now, I fully understand that there are exceptions to most rules, but don't let any exceptions cloud the bigger truth of what I'm about to say next. In looking at the strengths of the different healing approaches, it's important to make two distinctions. The first is that an outside supply has its strength in that it can artificially extend the quantity of our life, which has led to the mistaken belief that an outside approach is all you would ever need. It is also pretty good at addressing obvious symptoms, often in a pill form, resulting in a quick fix, which you have just learned may not take you where you want to go. The second distinction is that a blood and nerve supply which taps into your body's energy has the ability to contribute to the quality of your life, also known as functionality. Now, if you had to choose between the two, quantity or quality, which would you rather have? Most people would opt for quality, where a blood and nerve supply have their strengths. Wow! Furthermore, a blood and nerve supply uses the intelligence of the body to heal from the inside, while an outside supply relies on our best educated guess. In other words, we as doctors are using our own intelligence to try and tell your body what we think it needs, which is why we sometimes get it wrong. I know you've seen examples in your own life where physicians with good intentions have failed badly with patients' care. You might be asking yourself then, why have outside ways become the preferred method? I'll tell you. Changes directed from the outside can often be measured or quantified, and we as doctors want to feel that we can prove what we do to our patients. It's a concept that as a physician I can relate to, but measures or averages can only take you so far towards health, and in future videos I'll explain why that is. Why change what we've been doing, knowing that outside ways are only part of the solution? That's for you to decide, but here's something you might just want to consider. There is a universal law out there that governs all our lives that we can take advantage of. It goes like this. You just take one step towards your own self-betterment, and your inner self or power will take several steps towards you. Interesting, huh? What that means to you is that you can begin the process of being healthier and can even use small steps, knowing your inner power is there to help you, especially if you're trying one of these other approaches. The key is finding the right balance in your life of all of them. And just like a golf swing, requires regular application. So you might just want to seek out those in the healthcare fields that use a blood supply or a nerve supply, as it could be a real game changer for you, especially if outside ways aren't working for you. And remember, you still need all three of the essentials to achieve your true health potential. So keep pushing your health envelope to incorporate all three. There. I have given you a place to begin. Why not start today to become the person you were meant to be?